to have a regime change. Sheikh Hasina को आपने Yunus से replace कर दिया. But what about the street? The students will no longer remain in the streets, but the Islamic radicals will. You don't see women and girls on the streets of Dhaka anymore. Or if you see them, they're coming out in hijabs.
Shahbaz Sharif is private secretary to Chief of Army Staff Asim Munir in local rank of Prime Minister. This is not his government.
Is it ethnic cleansing being allowed wink wink by Bangladesh right
Religious
now?
cleansing.
Huh.
You see, even though Yunus has said that because Hindus were believed to be closer to the Awami League, therefore they're being targeted. Nonsense. They are being targeted as Hindus.
You're talking about a crazy situation right now where nobody knows कि कितने लोग इन protest में मरे हैं.
The PMLN is dead as a political party, as a political force, which is why they can't fight Imran Khan politically. They can only fight him using the army, right? And that is why they made common cause.
Asim Munir and Imran Khan, कबर एक है. Either Asim Munir is going to go inside or Imran Khan.
कब आर्मी चीफ कभी कब्र में गया आज तक? To labor a point about Bushra Bibi, she had said,
Your obsession is crazy, yeah. She's almost like an idol for you.
Are you
very fascinated.
going to emulating her in future?
No, please, can you see me in that burqa with my face covered and things? Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. My guests today are Tilak Deveshar and Sushant Sareen. Both have appeared on the podcast before and both are experts on Pakistan and our neighborhood. Tilak Deveshar is the author of 3 books on Pakistan and 1 on Afghanistan. Sushant Sareen is a senior fellow at the Observer Research Foundation and has several published works on Pakistan. Why are we discussing Bangladesh and Pakistan in the same podcast today? Because both these neighbors of India are in a state of political and social turmoil. In Pakistan now for over a week, a standoff between the government and the supporters of former Prime Minister Imran Khan, that is the PTI or the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party, seemed to reach a tipping point. Deadly clashes, sweeping arrests and widespread discontent plagued the cities of Pakistan. And then there was talk of a civilian coup last week. We'll discuss this in our podcast. In Bangladesh, the minority Hindu population faced uncertainty over their future as there were calls to make kafirs pay the price for the action of the ISKCON monk. The Bangladeshi government reportedly described the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, as a religious fundamentalist organization. The move comes in response to a writ petition submitted to the High Court seeking a ban on the group. Thank you, Sushant. Thank you, Tilak, for being here. I have your permission for using your first names, I guess, in the podcast.
Achha, before we begin, I want to say one thing.
Haan.
Please check if Imran Khan has been released.
Abhi to nahi hua.
No. Last time we had a discussion, you remember? He said he accused you and me of fixing the podcast at a time when he was arrested. The day he was arrested, we did our podcast.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure by coincidence, ye to nahi hai ki that he's being released today and again Sushant will accuse you.
Nobody is going to release him in a hurry because
I agree.
it's,
I agree. I'm just saying it in a lighter way.
I know.
Yeah, so at the time of filing this podcast, neither is the Bangladeshi monk been released, nor has Imran Khan been released. So a disclaimer on the day of shooting this podcast. So I know both of you are itching to talk about Pakistan, but I'm going to be the spoiler and get Bangladesh onto the table before that. Just to put this in perspective, we have long borders, thousands of kilometers with Pakistan and with Bangladesh. This impacts on India because there are many people who are saying, "Tumhe kya bhai? Bangladesh mein jo marzi ho, why are you talking about it?" And there are Bangladeshis who are coming and saying that you people have never accepted Bangladesh. There are Pakistanis who come on TV debates and say you never accepted the creation of Pakistan, and that's why you people are interfering. None of us believe in this thing that we are interfering in any manner. We are discussing it because we share borders. It impacts us as well. And so this is, of course, about this whole talk of, Hindus coming under attacks by radicals in Bangladesh. 13 million is the Hindu population out of a population of 165 Bangladeshis. In 1947, 20% were Hindus, and there's been systematic attacks on them from the time that it was East Pakistan to the time it became Bangladesh and subsequently later. So from 20% at the time of independence, when its status was that of East Pakistan, to now, when since 71 when it became Bangladesh, it's 7% and 8%. And now with Sheikh Hasina's being deposed on August 5th, there have been 2,000 documented attacks on Hindus. So let me begin with you,
Which the
Sushant.
Nobel laureate will say is an
Nobel.
exaggeration.
Huh. When Mohammad Yunus saying that it's an exaggeration, and even the Jamaat saying, disclaiming this number. So the number itself is up for dispute. Sushant, let me begin with you as to how do you think this thing is going to get panned in the next couple of weeks? What is going to happen? So if you can tell us your view about this.
Okay, just let me just start with this whole business that India has not accepted either Bangladesh or Pakistan. Now, people who say this should tell us what the criteria for accepting or not accepting a country is. Now, if the criteria is that we have to surrender our sovereignty or we have to surrender our territory to please you so that you feel accepted, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen, right? Otherwise, whatever parameters govern how two countries which recognize each other interact with each other, I think all of that is in place. So whether it's Pakistan, you have a diplomatic mission out there, and you even had somebody like Mr. Vajpayee going to Minare, Pakistan, which is a very ugly structure, but even then he went out there to endorse the fact that, you know, there is no issue that India is not going to accept Pakistan. And he that speech which he made in the governor's house in Lahore, he very clearly said that it doesn't even matter whether I accept or not. The people of Pakistan accept it, which means that I have no choice but to accept it. So I think he made it very, very clear. The same thing in Bangladesh, right? So this whole bogey that India has not accepted us is nonsense. Secondly, India, partly because they are neighboring countries and partly because when they carry out pogroms and genocide against a minority community and there are huge inflows of refugees into India, India does become, has to take cognizance of the matter. We simply, although for the longest, we turned a blind eye to what was happening. In the case of Bangladesh, simply because we said, it's potentially a friendly country, and there have been occasions when it has been a very friendly country. For example, under Sheikh Hasina. So, you'd say, okay, let me just deal with this without making too much of a song and dance about it. In the case of Pakistan, because you realize that they are so down the tube that there is no purpose that is really going to be served by even talking to them about the persecution of religious minorities. But then to come back to the bigger question on Bangladesh, I think things are not looking good. Partly because the way politics is likely to unfold for the foreseeable future, you are going to have governments which are, if not openly hostile, which are not going to be very friendly towards India. And they are partly for reasons of ideology, partly for reasons of their own politics and how they want to gather political support. And the best way to gather political support in some of these countries is India bashing. So some of these guys are going to be doing that. BNP has always been somewhat problematic. The Jamaat, of course, is the mothership of Islamic radicalism and terrorism in the subcontinent. Okay. But look, in Bangladesh, you even have a Nobel laureate who tries to brush aside persecution of religious minorities by saying that you are exaggerating. I don't know what exactly his definition of exaggeration is, but if a community as a whole feels hounded, hunted, feels intimidated, is being targeted simply because it makes a political choice, which might not be the political choice of people who are now, who have grabbed power, that does not mean that you, hunt them down. If that was to be an acceptable criteria, then I don't think democracy can survive in any country. In India, people can then pick on communities and ethnic groups and say that, look, since you support such and such party, you are liable for murder. you're liable for being hunted down. So I don't think that's an excuse that will wash down anybody's throat, which is an excuse that many so-called Bangladeshi intellectuals, again, I was going to say something about intellectuals in Bangladesh and Bengal, but I will desist. No, because there is this thing that, all intellectualism comes from that part of the world, which is utter nonsense. But
He's spoken like a true Punjabi, no?
no, but it's a fact, right? I have a lot to say about the Punjabis also. For example, when we come to Pakistan,
When we
I'll tell
talk
you
about
why
Pakistan.
Punjabis should never be put in ruling positions because they make a hash of wherever they rule. But we'll come to that. But look, here is the thing. There are very serious problems. Number one, in terms of how Bangladesh's internal politics is going to play out. Number two, how that internal politics will then relate to India. And then, of course, there is that entire security dimension. You have the illegal government, unconstitutionally constituted government, which has now started reaching out to Pakistan. And many of the checks and balances which the Sheikh Hasina government had put, for example, on consignments coming from Pakistan into Bangladesh, they were put through a lot of scrutiny to ensure that there was no contraband coming from there. That has all gone, right? So you're going to have certain security problems coming in. And then, of course,
You're talking about India having security
India
problems.
will have,
Okay.
because the Bangladeshis could again revert to type. Before 2009, there were terror training camps, there were insurgent groups which had been given safe havens inside Bangladesh. So you have that entire stuff which could happen once again. And if religious radicalism is given a free hand, as seems to be happening, because a Hindu organization which is into giving free meals and just doing bhajan kirtan has been declared a terrorist organization. But actual terrorists who have been in jail and organizations like the Jamaat-e-Islami have been given a free run. They've been taken out of jail, given a free run. So you have the specter of Islamic radicalism and even worse, terrorism emanating out of Bangladesh. And then finally, you have a very mutually beneficial economic relationship that developed over the last 15 years. And we'll have to see how that plays out. Now, at one level, the so-called nationalists in Bangladesh, who are anything but nationalists because they're harming Bangladesh's own interest and its own image, they are going to make that a bit of an issue. And so, for example, if electricity is being supplied, then they're going to create a fuss about it. In any case, the Bangladesh economy has been tanking. Their export industry has suffered grievously. A lot of orders are moving out of Bangladesh, which means that then you have this whole unemployment business happening. And all those guys, those Indian economists in fancy Western universities who were telling us that Bangladesh and Sri Lanka are the examples to follow. Both of them are with the IMF right now. One is bankrupt, the other is on the verge of bankruptcy. But we were being advised to follow their example. So you will have even economic refugees filtering into India. And in the guise of economic refugees, you could have Islamic terrorists coming into India. So there is that entire issue. And then, of course, if we go in for things like arbitration and other clauses, in the event of disruptions in the business relationship, then that will also have an impact on the bilateral relationship. And I don't see anybody in Bangladesh as yet ready to walk back and say, okay, fine, this is not the path we should follow. So I see major headwinds going forward.
Thank you. Tilak, I'm going to come to you. Why does Mohammad Yunus need the Jamaat? Is it the same way like Trudeau needs the Khalistanis? And is he, like what Sushant said, not going to be able to walk back from the position that he has cornered himself into?
You see, first let me just begin on the question you began on, not accepting Bangladesh and Pakistan. If you see the neighborhood, there are two models to bash India. One is not accepting our sovereignty, Pakistan and Bangladesh. It's basically to use it as a tool to justify their own nationalist politics. If we are standing up to India. The other is India is a big brother. So you have Nepal and Sri Lanka, so these are the two models in the neighborhood. This is going to continue. This is the problem that India, as the largest neighbor, largest country in South Asia, by leaps and bounds, is going to continue to face this problem. Now, coming to Bangladesh per se, you see, I object to the basic premise that a Nobel laureate can be a good governance model.
Yeah.
Why?
A Nobel Peace Laureate.
Yeah. What does he bring to the table? He has no experience. He ran this Grameen Bank, which is controversial. He was saved from inquiries and being prosecuted thanks to the pressure that the Clintons brought on the Bangladesh government. So I don't know why he was brought there in the first place. As far as support is concerned, he's not elected. He's not going to go in for elections. They are looking for 5-6 years, for an interim government. Why does he need the Jamaat? He doesn't. But the fact that the Jamaat is dominating shows that the agenda is something different, that he has not been able to assert himself, and he's just taking the easy way out. So today, the Jamaat is dominating policy, it is dominating the streets, and this also shows that the BNP, which people keep saying that the Awami League, Sheikh Hasina totally disrupted the BNP, is not true, because BNP has not come up to the task. BNP and Khaleda Zia,
They're part of the coalition right now.
yeah, but they have not been able to assert themselves, take control of policy, take control of governance. They are just not popular enough. People don't support them. And it's all very well for Khaleda Zia to have boycotted the last 2 elections, saying they are going
She's
to be
too
irregular.
unwell anyway,
Yeah,
right?
It is basically because they realize they'll get a thrashing in the elections. So, and unfortunately, the Jamaat is dominating, is going to continue to dominate, and is going to come more and more out of the streets. So, targeting of Hindus is one. It gets them brownie points, showing their Islamic credentials. You also have now a situation where you see, and somebody reported, you don't see women and girls on the streets of Dhaka anymore. Or their presence has been reduced. Or if you see them, they're coming out in hijabs. Now, Bangladeshi society was such that even Muslim women wore saris,
Bindi.
wore bindi and all that. That is dissipating. So, I think if this continues, more than Pakistan, Bangladesh will become like a Talibanized Afghanistan, where the pressure is going to be so much that women will not be able to go out easily. So, I don't think so. Yunus needs the Jamaat.
How long does it take for any society to change so radically? That's what I'm trying to say. In the sense, one has seen what happened in Iran. When you see old pictures, you meet older people, they tell you about how Iran used to be, how Tehran used to be this fashion capital and things. And then everything changed and women have to wear hijabs and all. Now, how long do you think, how soon can it can change radically within a couple of months, within a couple of years? How long does it take?
Not very long, because there is no resistance. You see, the Awami League has been badgered into submission. Jamaat has gone and targeted them. The journalists, they're about murder cases. Can you imagine? This will be of interest to you. 300 senior journalists have got murder cases against them. Most of them have disappeared. They've lost their jobs. They've lost their salaries. And they're totally, fraudulent cases, because one person is accused of having committed 5 or 6 murders on the same day in different localities of Dhaka. So it's basically to suppress.
And
So
it's also, there is historical parallels, right? You can bring that in when the intellectuals were...
What Pakistan tried to do.
In 71, yeah.
Get rid of them. So it is not going to take very long. Because there is no resistance. The Awami League cadres are, as I mentioned, badgered into submission. The Khaleda Zia, the BNP, is not doing anything to prevent the Jamaat from taking over. So I would say a couple of months. If there is no resistance. Now, the only person or the institution that can prevent this is the army.
Why would the army do?
Why wouldn't the army do? I mean, so it all depends now.
How radicalized the army is.
How radicalized the army is, or how much the top leadership of the army says ki nahi. No, for you cannot do this. But then how does the army prevent that? The army will then have to take over. So is the army in a position to take over? So, these are the sort of moving parts. I don't know which way it will go. But right now, the straws are clearly indicating that Bangladesh is moving towards a radicalized society.
Do you,
You said Pakistan.
I know.
It is kind of, I thought you were actually
No, when you were talking about
Pakistan.
army, the original question which I asked is the position of Yunus with Jamaat the same as what is with Trudeau and Khalistan?
You see, Trudeau needs votes. He's elected.
Yeah.
He needs support in the assembly. Yunus does not. There is no assembly. He's not elected.
But the Jamaat is sitting with him in the coalition that is being run.
True, but he's not dependent on the votes of the Jamaat.
Okay.
Unlike Trudeau, who's dependent on the,
Huh.
the party's support.
Yeah. NDP.
INDP. But in the case of Yunus, he doesn't need to. I have a feeling that Yunus is going to be worried for his life. Because if he doesn't play ball, or if he acts tough, it's going to be very difficult to protect him.
Okay. When you're talking about the Bangladesh army, would they want to stop this ethnic cleansing which is happening, the violence on the streets which is happening? Sheikh Hasina had pushed the army into the barracks for decades. Do they now have the gumption to come out of the barracks and take control of the situation?
Yeah, so that is, I think, that is really the million-dollar question, isn't it? Look, one is that 15 years of Sheikh Hasina, I think the army was at least politically neutered, in the sense that it wasn't interfering in politics anymore, except for that BDR rebellion right in the beginning. But other than that, I think Sheikh Hasina got a pretty firm handle over the army. It is another matter that she made the biggest mistake by appointing her own relative as the army chief, because, in some societies, relatives are the first ones to actually stab you in the back. But again, within the army, we will have to see whether the soldiery and the officials, the top brass, are they on the same page? So, for example, if the army needs to intervene, now this is something which also is relevant to Pakistan. If the army really wants to intervene, is the army a unified body, a cohesive body in the sense that armies are normally? I don't know. I don't have a firm handle over that. Secondly, if the army was to take on Islamists, would the soldiery go along with it? I think that is going to be very critical. And how much of public support, because look, again, army cannot operate in a vacuum. It needs some kind of political support, somebody in the civvy street who actually backs what the army is doing, becomes their spokesperson, becomes their, public interface. Will they be able to find a credible political organization or body or group of people who will be able to do that?
And in Bangladesh case, it's usually students who take over this kind of movement.
And the students right now, we know where they're coming from. So there is going to be that particular issue. But I think, in a very historical sense, the irony is that what the Pakistanis were trying to make out of Bangladesh in 71, the Bangladeshis have managed to do on their own in 2004.
True. When I hear them on debates these days, Sushant, TV debates, when they come on Indian TV debates, they really sound like Pakistanis, and that was never the case.
Yeah.
Some of the arguments that they are presenting...
Pakistanis sound reasonable these days.
Comparatively speaking, yes.
I never thought we would compare Canada, Bangladesh with Pakistan, but look, that's
I have
what started
several more
happening.
topics to discuss on Bangladesh, but अब मेरे को पाप चढ़ेगा, अब दोनों यहाँ पे बैठे हैं and I don't talk about Pakistan. Also, I'm going to do, I know there'll be people who are saying that, why are you doing this in 2 languages? Why don't you? There are parts about this which I also want to do in Hindi because, it's watched a lot in Pakistan. It's watched a lot in India, the podcast about...
Are you saying Pakistanis can't understand English?
देखो ये मेरे को एवी मरवा रहा है, ये ऐसे बोल के फिर उसके बाद,
I'd be wrong.
So Sushant, what you said subtly,
हाँ
convey a message, Sushant rubs it in.
हाँ तो फिर इसीलिए तो तभी तो ही लाइक जो भी पॉडकास्ट में आता है लाइक सुशांत सरीन हैज अ हिट ऑल द टाइम. अच्छा लाइक अभी पाकिस्तान पे आएंगे बट आई हैव टू ड्रॉ द सिमिलैरिटीज बिटवीन द 2 सिचुएशंस. अभी जो वहाँ पे हो रहा है पाकिस्तान में जो हो रहा है एंड बांग्लादेश है, दोनों एक साथ इरप्ट करके कोई डू यू सी सम ग्रैंड प्लान कि कोइंसिडेंटली दोनों में हो गए हैं?
किसका ग्रैंड प्लान?
वही मैं डीप स्टेट नहीं, कोइंसिडेंटली तो नहीं हो रहा ना.
नहीं,
बांग्लादेश की सिचुएशन अलग है.
हाँ.
You know, it is a cohesive society,
हाँ.
unlike Pakistan. Last 15 years, it has done very well economically. You know, their GDP, their reserves, $60 billion in textile exports. You know, they have a much larger economy than Pakistan's.
एंड पाकिस्तान में कमेंटेटर्स यूज्ड टू से लो जी ये यहाँ पे पहुंच गए, और हमको बोला जाता था दैट दे विल हैव नथिंग टू ईट
Yeah.
व्हेन दे बिकम अ कंट्री.
Yeah. So it's a different situation. And also Bangladesh is surrounded by all sides by India, 4,000 kilometers, you know. So Pakistan ki situation alag hai. They've had more military coups. They have a hybrid system which has been refined by the army. They know how to rig elections, how to deal with various politicians and all that. In Bangladesh case, it is different. Now here, I think there has been a much larger foreign intervention to arrange this regime change than there has been in Pakistan.
पर पाकिस्तान में भी तो होता है कि अमेरिका अल्लाह एंड आर्मी.
The difference between Bangladesh and Pakistan on this foreign interference is that in the case of Pakistan, the foreign interference happens at the top levels. You know, you are doing it with the military, or you are doing it with a major political party or the government. You know, that is the level of intervention, whether it's from the Chinese side or from the Americans or anybody else. In the case of Bangladesh, it is I would imagine a lot more different, partly because of this whole NGO network which has spread in places like Bangladesh. And what the Pakistanis did under Nawaz Sharif's government, his last one, in the one which came into power in 2013, 2014, what they did was they went after the NGOs, got a firmer handle over many of these international NGOs and local NGOs which were getting funding from abroad. I'm not sure that happened in Bangladesh's case. So the ability to interfere in the political processes in Bangladesh and to use the NGOs as front to create to destabilize a country. We've seen efforts like that in India as well, right? And we haven't gone far enough in curtailing some of their activities. But in the case of Bangladesh, we've seen that if you allow these so-called NGOs, which are basically governmental organizations of the West, but they are non-governmental organizations in our context. They serve as tools for destabilization. I'm not saying all NGOs are like that, but many of them are actually kind of fronts for the establishments of other countries which want some leverage to interfere in other countries.
See, and this, in case of Bangladesh, one particular organization, I was reading an article, fascinating, International Republican Institute or something like that. They, since 2018, have been training so-called advocacy and young students on protests, especially on social media, on the internet, how to organize protests, how to get together people. And in their report, which they gave to the State Department, they said...
Where have they been doing this? In Bangladesh?
In Bangladesh.
Not in India?
I don't know about India.
हाँ, यहाँ पे जो प्रोटेस्ट होते हैं ऑर्गेनिक होते हैं, है ना?
But there, they actually train. They've been training. They've trained I don't know how many hundreds of people.
Means
and
कैसे?
in the report,
कि organized तरीके से कैसे पत्थर फेंके जाते हैं? What is this? What is organized protest?
How do you organize?
Mobilizing on the social media.
How do you organize on social media using the internet? They've supported bands. They've supported musicians. You know how to attract people. It's a fascinating, detailed article.
Sir, मुझे भी देना है.
Yeah.
नहीं, पर ये कैसे? मतलब how does a country allow these people?
They've been working there since 2003. This particular organization, and in their latest report to the State Department, they said that while the BNP is a possible alternative, it is not popular. It does not have the bandwidth to replace the Awami League. Therefore, in this case, it will have to be done through social engineering, which means street protests. And this is precisely what happened. They used the example of the 2018 protests, mobilized the youth, and you see the results.
But mobilize the youth for what cause? For
It's regime change.
Regime change.
so through Islamic
Destabilizer.
radicalization is also a toolkit
This
which
was
is
not-
fine to use.
This was not their part of it. The Islamic radicalization. I think this is where the miscalculation is.
So the
That you thought you could have the youth to have a regime change, and then
और
you have
बाकी
another,
सारे बैठे रहेंगे,
and
कुछ
that
नहीं
you have
करेंगे.
another government. They did not realize that in Bangladesh, such a strong undercurrent of the Jamaat, of radicalization, who have now taken over.
So now they train you for a particular kind of protest,
Yeah.
but the ideology can change, right? You can supplant the
Exact-
ideology.
So this is so short-sighted, and not realizing the culture in which you are operating. You think you can train youth to have a regime change? Sheikh Hasina को आपने यूनुस से replace कर दिया. But what about the street? The students will no longer remain in the streets, but the Islamic radicals will. So this is what is happening
So
today.
And interestingly, something quite opposite happened in Pakistan,
Huh.
where the Pakistan army, along with Imran Khan's party, trained thousands of young people in some of these similar things, how to use social media so that the then regime, which was Imran Khan and the army, how does that spread its message, how does that connect with people, etc., etc. And this was what I call the troll core of the Pakistan army. Now, what happened was that the moment they got rid of Imran Khan, the entire troll corps deserted the army and went with Imran Khan. So as a result, that entire mobilization which happened against the army happened by people who had been trained by the army in these dark arts, as I would call them, and they are not able to get over it. So they are now having to ban social media, ban internet lockdowns, because mobilization takes place.
VPN.
VPN.
That's so
What
funny.
is this VPN का क्या था वो?
And
But
the
what
council
was
of Islamic
Shehbaz?
ideology says this is anti-Sharia.
Anti. फिर उसके बाद में
People say, "Arey, what has Sharia got to do with VPN? This is really anti-Islamic.
I don't understand that. Explain this thing to our viewers and what was that directive anyway? Ki VPN is anti-religious by nature.
yeah.
Use of VPN is anti-religious.
Yeah.
Not the VPN per se, but what is spread through VPN, If it's anti-Islamic, this pornography, this, that, people are using it. So basically they were looking for an excuse. How do you ban it? See, they have slowed down the speed of the internet.
This is now you're talking about an elected government backing the...
Elected, that's controversial.
Yeah.
Acha, whether it
With
was
an
rigged
inverted
or
commas.
not.
Allegedly elected.
Allegedly, Shahbaz Sharif's government, let me just say that, okay?
Yeah.
So now this Shahbaz Sharif's government puts out or backs the...
यार
VPN
let's put the record straight.
ठीक है.
Shahbaz Sharif is private secretary to Chief of Army Staff Asim Munir in local rank of Prime Minister. This is not his government.
Local rank of Prime
This
Minister.
is not his
Grade
government.
22.
In fact, I would go to the extent of...
Grade 22.
No, I would even go to the extent of saying that this is not even a hybrid government. This is an out-and-out military government with a civilian facade. Right? That is what this government is. अब आगे आप पूछ लो जो भी पूछ लो.
हाँ, वही मैं...
तो ये शहबाज शरीफ की गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ नहीं किया.
So they were so scared of Imran Khan's protests.
हाँ.
They've slowed down the internet. So you can barely send messages, you can't record and things. They have switched off X or Twitter. So the only way people found was by using VPN. Now, how does that work? I'm not a tech guy. Maybe your guys can explain to you. So this was the only thing left to the journalists, to the vloggers, whatever, to get their message across. अब इसको भी आपने ban कर दिया. So what do people do? Basically, they were scared because Imran Khan's troll army, as Sushant mentioned, especially in the West, are phenomenal in spreading the message, an anti-government, anti-army message. How do you prevent that? They thought they will do this, and they used the Council of Islamic Ideologies, the ultimate weapon in Pakistan. कि ये तो
Anti-Sharia.
Anti-Islam.
Get the Islamic approval also. So give it an Islamic touch, as they call it, so that there is a certain sanctification to.
But here is Sarkar mein, you have Bilawal Bhutto, foreign educated, you've had Mariam, who's also lived abroad. These are supposedly,
The
broad
power, Smita, power.
power के लिए मतलब
So
you can
Bilawal
say
Bhutto,
Of course.
to be fair to him, he did make a couple of statements about how this is a very stupid thing that the government is doing. But that was it. After that, I'm sure his father must have told him, shut up, don't say anything
तो
else.
फादर है
because
कहाँ? वो कोई
father is-
फ्रैक्चर हो गया है कहीं
is the
बैठा हुआ है?
he's the president now. He can be anywhere. How
Yeah,
does
he
it
come back.
matter?
He broke his leg
No,
in Dubai.
he's out.
In Dubai.
हाँ.
He's still in Dubai.
Yeah,
तो-
so now he'll come back.
बट ये तो बड़े स्मार्ट है ना. नवाज शरीफ इज सिटिंग अब्रॉड कि तू संभाल.
नहीं वो आ गया मेरे कल वापस.
So has he come back?
Yeah, but I
thought-
think he is now no longer really effectively in power anymore. So just as Asif Zardari destroyed PPP by his too clever by half tactics, I think Shahbaz Sharif has buried PMLN. And because Nawaz Sharif is now, I think he's virtually retired. That's what it seems like. He makes a statement once in a while. I'm not sure if he's going to be very happy with how things are going. But I think what he's trying to do is mentor his daughter, trying to cement
But
her.
she very nice PR visuals that come of her dressed to the nines going about
but the
meeting
pro-
people. पर अभी आजकल कहाँ है वो?
But see, here,
She had gone abroad. I think she went for her.
वही तो मैं कह रही
treatment
हूँ.
or
That
something.
मतलब all this
No, she's
nonsense happening.
she's back.
She's
But
back.
look,
But she went in a government aircraft and came back in a government aircraft at a time when, there was a lot of criticism of that.
all sacrifices are to be done by the people, not
Yeah,
by
of
the
course.
elite.
Of
course.
Now,
अच्छा,
what's
ये-
wrong with you?
ये जो
So
visuals
this will be an
हैं,
iconic image.
these
will always
visuals,
remain.
these visuals were 5-6 दिन हो चुके हैं इस visual से. Now there are bodies supposedly still lying in the mortuary, not handed over to the families. अब you're talking about a crazy situation right now where nobody knows कि कितने लोग इन protest में मरे हैं. Is it a dozen? Is it 5? There are rangers who have died.
There are some people who are saying over 100 people
Over
have died.
100.
Somebody saying 200.
Yeah.
You see, I personally feel, initially reports are that those 5-6 people died. Rangers, police and one civilian. The PTI is trying to cover up the fact that the whole long march was ended in a fiasco. It was very strong in the first 3 days, ended in a fiasco. Now, how do you cover it up? You create a controversy that the army has brutally killed so many people. I won't be surprised if there were more deaths than what is being reported. They had snipers.
हाँ मेरे को ये समझ
How
नहीं आ रहा.
snipers on the roof for a civilian protest?
हाँ, क्यों?
Okay. So 2-3 things. I don't agree with you, sir, on this whole thing that this march ended in a fiasco. Now it depends on what perspective.
Yeah. What is the definition? What is the objective?
Goal
What is the
क्या था?
objective?
हाँ,
Right.
correct.
Now look at the way I look at it is that this march was announced without any great preparation. We know that it was suddenly out of the blue. They announced final call, do or die, given by Imran Khan just about 10 days before this march was supposed to take place. There is nobody else, no mainstream leader. Look, the PMLN is dead as a political party, as a political force, which is why they can't fight Imran Khan politically. They can only fight him using the army, right? And that is why they made common cause. So, no other political force, at least I'm not talking about the Baloch, Maharang Baloch and company, and I'm not talking about PTM. I'm talking about mainstream political parties, can mobilize a committed crowd of this nature as quickly to march on Islamabad.
हाँ, वो चलते गए, कोई रोकने वाला नहीं.
Only people who were able to do this were the Islamist parties, the TLPs and JUI and stuff like that,
तो
right?
कंटेनर तो इमरान ही लाता है, पीटीआई ही लाती है.
नहीं, कंटेनर वो हिलाते हैं, वो लाता नहीं है, वो हिलाते हैं, वो कंटेनर इन्होंने रखे था. So one is that his ability to mobilize his supporters as quickly as
That has
he's
been
done.
demonstrated repeatedly.
Secondly, पंजाब didn't come out because आराम से वो करते हैं ना अपना काम के यार मेरे को मारपीट नहीं होनी चाहिए, बाकी सब ठीक है, मैं वोट जाके कर दूंगा, which is what they did, right?
हाँ.
So
So who are these people then?
One second, I'll just
KPK.
give me 2
Yeah,
minutes.
KPK.
I'll explain my point to you. So there was no mobilization from Punjab. There was some show which Punjabis do, all the time, that they'll be very boastful and show a lot of bravado and then they'll pipe down, they tried that, but there was a major clampdown in Punjab. In KP, there wasn't the same kind of clampdown. So bulk of the mobilization was from KP. But look at the way the government was reacting, almost as though Indian army is invading Islamabad, putting containers, digging up roads, putting police all over the place,
20,000
bridges being
policemen,
blocked.
20,000 policemen.
Right.
But police from Sindh, police from
From all over.
POK, from
Yeah.
Gilgit-Baltistan.
Borders
20,000.
blocked, internet blocked, newspapers
But
under
I believe
control.
some of the rangers are from KPK, so they were actually firing their own people. I mean, they were trying.
Yeah,
to,
so
वो नहीं चला ना
so
फिर.
all of
That's
this.
why they used SSG commandos in the end.
So why I'm saying, sir, that this wasn't a failure, and I'm just making my case. So one, the way the state reacted, and it tells you that the state was panicking. And had the state not put all those obstacles, there might have been many, many more people who would have actually come and congregated in Islamabad. So Imran has proven his committed support. I think that's a win. Secondly, with all that the state could throw at him, they threw at him, and yet these guys managed to reach the target.
D-Jonk, yeah.
Right?
I agree. That's
They were okay. They were pushed out from there. There were massacres or there was firing. We don't know how many people were killed. And one of the reasons you don't know how many people are killed, at least what's appearing in the public domain, is that a lot of people are saying that, look, it's like it happens even in our part of the world. If the cop does not register a FIR, that does not mean that some criminal case has not happened, right? But they're not registering FIRs. Apparently, registers from hospitals have gone missing because when people were coming, so everybody is registered. All of that has happened. Some journalists who have gone to find out how many casualties have come into a hospital, they have been, there's this guy Matiullah
Mateen,
Jan.
yeah.
arrested on terrorism charges.
No, and drugs.
Nobody
And
knows.
Drugs.
So drugs, very common in Pakistan.
Right? So,
Disappear हो गए.
No,
Disappeared.
thankfully, he's not disappeared.
हाँ.
He's not disappeared.
But the first 24 hours,
Yeah.
nobody knew where
Nobody
he
knew.
was, right?
No, I think people knew because there were two guys who were picked up. They knew that the cops had picked them up. And he was then, one of the guys was released in the morning, Matiullah Jan. Because look, he has the ability to get under anybody's skin. He's the most irreverential journalist I've ever seen anywhere in
अगर
the world.
सुशांत पाकिस्तान में होता तो सुशांत would be Mathur.
No, I would not. I'm not as brave as he is, and I'm not as stupid as he is. I would not. I would be like a Najam Sethi, sitting in comfort, doing all that, and
But we are back
spouting all,
to the Punjabi.
all kinds of nonsense. So I'm a very. I love my armchair.
Air conditioned armchair
I
expert.
love it. I love it.
So I will just disagree with you in one respect. I agree with what you said. Imran Khan demonstrated again his ability to mobilize people. People from Punjab didn't come because they even blocked intercity transport. In Punjab, they disrupted Punjab totally by blocking. KPK, they couldn't because the chief ministers from their party. So, he could bring, all those people. But having come to, see where it went wrong. Bushra Bibi took control of the march at a very critical time. People had already reached D-Chowk, about 300 people.
No,
Broken off.
wait.
Sir,
For
ये तो
somebody
अख्तर
who's
मलिक वाला बात
आप
हो गई.
बहुत डिटेल में जा रहे हो.
1965 war, Pakistan would have won if Akhtar Malik had continued.
आप बहुत
Which is
डिटेल
true.
में जा रहे
He
हो.
was
एक मिनट,
knocking
एक
at the
मिनट.
gates, yeah.
अरे आप डी चौक वगैरह बोल रहे हो. अगर किसी को समझ नहीं आता about this, you've been posted there, so everybody knows what is D Chowk and you know about it. You need to explain the geography and बुशरा बीबी है कौन ये भी तो समझाइए.
So D Chowk-
मेरे को आई एम फैसिनेटेड बाय दिस लेडी. हु इज शी? कहाँ से सडनली आ गई पीरनी? कौन है ये?
She is Imran
मोहतरमा.
Khan's third wife. She is supposedly a Sufi Pirni.
Clairvoyant.
Yeah.
Not even a Pirni.
The funniest thing I heard was when somebody was on the street and asking कि वो तो भाग गई. He said, क्या बात कर रहे हो? वो तो D Chowk पे है. He said, D Chowk पे? He said, हाँ, आप उसको देख नहीं सकते. But she is very much there. And she's a jinn,
वो जिन है तो कोई देख नहीं सकता.
Yeah.
That
So
is the.
This is what people were saying. Her die-hard supporters. Now, she took charge at a time when 300-400 people had reached D-Chowk. Rest of the convoy, led by Ali Amin Gandapur, Chief Minister of KPK, and her, they stopped slightly away, a place called China Chowk, which is in this
So
main road.
these are the lieutenants of Imran, Gandapur and Bushra Bibi.
Bushra Bibi so far was non-political. He would say that she's a housewife, she's non-political. But I think she suddenly felt insecure because his sisters, Halima Khan and this other lady, started coming out and making statements on behalf of Imran Khan. So she was a third, why not me? So she started leading the convoy. She had a bit of a words exchange with Gandapur, who was
But
not
she
very,
spent time in jail already, right? So,
but she's still been non-political.
Non-political.
But now is the first time she came out.
but was she non-political? Because लोग कहते हैं कि वो
Backroom
इमरान
she was doing,
हाँ.
Backroom she was doing. She was making the money.
There
she
is
was telling
nothing
people.
spontaneous and there is nothing non-political.
है ना? मतलब it's not as if she was making kali dal
But
for
she was
Imran
not
Khan.
coming out. She was. क्या है यार?
Sorry.
This is a serious discussion हो रही है. आप काली दाल पे पहुंच गए.
नहीं, but Kali Dal is very important, sir.
हाँ मतलब इमेजरी भी तो होती है कोई चीज. अगर जिन नहीं देख सकते आप काली दाल तो देख सकते हो.
And we can't explain this.
We can't. Viewers and listeners, this is a family show, so please Google Imran Khan, Kali Dal, and you will.
Reham Khan.
And Reham Khan, and you will know क्या मैं कह रही हूँ.
So just to cut this short, there was some confusion whether Imran Khan had said D Chowk ही जाना है, or the government had offered him an alternate site.
What is D Chowk now? Why isn't it important?
Okay, like Vijay Chowk.
Acha, like Vijay Chowk in Delhi.
Yeah, it is a place which is very close to the centers of power, Parliament, Supreme Court, President's House, Prime Minister. You know, it's a.
भाई मैं तो सिर्फ
Critical.
जिन्ना सुपर जाती थी शॉपिंग करने, है ना?
You didn't go to D Chowk?
No, of course I went to D Chowk.
Cross it. There's nothing in D
Yeah.
Chowk.
हाँ, but then yeah.
So that's a square, you
कुछ भी नहीं
know.
है. हाँ.
It's a square which is.
Earlier they used to hold their parades out there.
But I mean, it's very disappointing, you know. I mean, it's like seeing.
Yeah, it's
when
quite
you
an
go-
anticlimax.
हाँ, वहाँ जैसे दिखाते हैं कि यहाँ कश्मीर यहाँ है. अच्छा, चल कश्मीर यहाँ है. हाँ.
So there was confusion whether Imran Khan had said कि D Chowk ही जाना है, which was the earlier
Yeah.
thing, or to go to another place which the government had given, Sanjani, outskirts of Islamabad, and do your protest there. So two of the people who met Imran Khan said Imran Khan has agreed to Sanjani jao. Bushra Bibi said no, we will go only to D Chowk and you have to follow me. If you don't, I'll be the only person over there.
What did she do? She did a jalsa to tell people कि
Yeah, she
कैसे?
was on a container.
हाँ, because
Mic
there's
se-
no social media, right?
Yeah.
So how do you
no,
tell?
No, she was speaking on
Okay.
with the mic.
हाँ.
That's when the government said you can't come to D Chowk because then we'll have to use this. That's a red line.
हाँ.
So they started the operation, switched off the lights, shot tear gases and all that. So people started running. That's when Bushra Baby and Ali Amin Gandapur fled. They were told कि operation आ रहा है, you better go from here.
ये वाला ये
तुम्हें भी गोली लग
जो
जाएगी.
पिक्चर ये जो वीडियो है which was put by somebody, पता नहीं whether it's right or not. I saw Hussain Haqqani tweeting it, तो मैंने देखा कि ये कोई लेके जा रहा है and nobody can understand कौन है. Some people are alleging that private vehicle से सरकारी गाड़ी में जो गए हैं, that means
See, as of-
alleging that.
They were fled. People stoned the car, you know.
No, but look, as of now,
Was
there
it
are-
Bushra Bibi being
There
taken
are a
away?
lot of conflicting stories which are coming out. There is one story, again, we don't know the veracity of anything right
Huh,
now.
huh.
But there is one story that the car in which Bushra and this guy Gandapur was sitting, there was firing on that car. There were bullet holes in that car, and one of the tires had been shot. So that is when they shifted her into another car. Now I don't know whether this is true. Look, so like I
Other
said,
car मतलब provided by who? सरकार और
नहीं,
by
उन्हीं की अपनी
उन्हीं
होगी.
की अपनी.
हाँ. अब
Okay.
पता नहीं सरकार ने दी है.
But
Again,
Sarkar allowed them free passage to go out because otherwise the roads are blocked throughout. How did they manage to go out?
no, but look, so here, again, my point is that as of now, I think there are many conflicting accounts of what exactly transpired. What exactly did Imran say? Whom did he say it to?
Yeah.
Was Bushra speaking Imran's language, or was somebody else, or was she trying to hijack the entire movement? A lot of people, and see, I don't trust Pakistani media anyways, because a lot of
They're all motivated.
misinformation and disinformation takes place through some of the very well-known people who are very highly regarded by Indian media out here. So I don't take anything anybody says seriously anymore until I find more corroborative evidence. Now, everything you are saying, sir, now you flip it around, and my point is that people say that, look, Gandapur was the guy who was actually
In touch with the establishment.
In touch with the establishment, and he does things up to a point, and the establishment lets him do it, and then lets him get away with it, right? And this time, Bushra Bibi, maybe because of Imran told her, said, okay, fine, you're playing these games, now let me hijack your game and play Imran's game. Possible. It is also possible that once the firing started, she felt that it's better to move out of this place. And the government let them go because had they arrested her, they don't know what might have happened. But once you see the leaders flee, then the possibility that the rest of the crowd gets disheartened and also starts dispersing is much higher than if you arrest the leader and the word gets out that, they've assaulted her or done something. So maybe that is why they gave the safe passage. You ask any cop, now, I don't know how people control crowds now. I think they've lost the touch of how crowd control needs to take place. But in the old days, every time there was a demonstration and the cops were given orders that, okay, this far and no further, they would make sure that there was an exit route for the crowd. You would always keep an exit route for a crowd so that there is no stampede and you can manage the
like
control
the Lal
the crowd.
Masjid type protest जब वो सब हो रहे थे उस time.
नहीं उसमें तो लाल मस्जिद तो completely different था. But look, normally,
but उस time
but the principle of
lawyers protest जब हुआ.
the principle of crowd control is that when a crowd is coming and you have to disperse a crowd, you must give it a way out. You must let it disperse. You can't block their exits because then it's a massacre, right? That is Jallianwala Bagh.
No, but they blocked it because they didn't want them to enter.
Yeah,
from one side.
But when you are dispersing, you let them run away so that that happens.
You don't put snipers.
But look,
snipers was amazing.
You're putting snipers, you're putting all kinds of things. So which is why I'm saying the way
Donald Trump wala situation
because the way the state reacted tells you about how insecure the state is.
Yeah, true.
So when you say, sir, that it's a fiasco that the state has won.
No, it's equally a fiasco for the state.
It's a fiasco for the state.
For the army and for the government, the overreaction.
Yeah.
For 3-4 days, you stop all supplies coming into the urban areas. People are running out of milk. People are running out of all kinds of things. So it just shows that you've gone crazy. You're so insecure. 20,000 people being deployed. And yet those fellows managed to enter. You were supposed to stop the caravans coming from Attock, KPK, the first town into Punjab is Attock. Then you come towards Islamabad. They had brought with them cranes. They had brought with them this ropes.
But how did they enter Punjab? Punjab is in the hands of the PPP.
Yeah, but
how did they allow that?
Of the PMLN.
PMLN, sorry.
They
Sindh is PPP, Punjab is
so
PMLN.
This is something which people in India also now need to start, people in authority needs to start watching. That once you get a crowd of thousands of people marching, how do you control that crowd?
It's like, you remember with the farmers' protests, Amrinder Singh, who at that time was in the Congress, he told the farmers, he gave them free passage कि तुम जाओ. फिर हरियाणा में वो रुक गए. Because Haryana, you had the BJP government, so Haryana में वो रुक गए, वो आगे नहीं आ सके. Right? They couldn't come, but some of them did manage to come.
Being stopped at the border.
But some of them did manage to come.
But they were allowed, that when they came in on 26 January.
26 January.
They were allowed as
But
restricted.
even then, how many were there? So the point is, but if supposing you multiply that crowd by a factor of 20, 30, right? And nowadays you can't do what you could do 20 years back, 30 years back. That the police had the orders that, okay, fine, you go on your knees and fire below the knees, right?
No, but there are
that
other
was the
ways.
standard
There
of
was
everybody
tear
has
gas,
a mobile
there's-
phone. Everybody has a mobile
so
phone.
नहीं देखो पहले क्राउड कंट्रोल का अल्टीमेट क्या होता था? टियर गैस, लाठी चार्ज, और जब सब कुछ क्राउड बिल्कुल बाद में रबर बुलेट्स. पर पहले क्या होता था?
पहले तो रबर बुलेट्स भी नहीं
पहले तो 303 राइफल से they would shoot into the crowd, right? You can't do that anymore. So you need to figure out more effective ways of how to manage, say, a crowd of not 500 people, not 2,000 people, but how do you manage a crowd of 50,000 people? Right? I don't know if anybody in government.
Nobody has. I mean, even in America, they don't know how to go about doing it.
How does one control? So I think this is things that, I look at Pakistan as a classical laboratory for political science. भाई कि जितनी चवल मारनी है ना आपने दुनिया में, whether it's on politics, political systems, Pakistan has done it all. And they failed in everything, so you know what not to try. And I look at developments in Pakistan and I try and take lessons it might hold for us. And one of these lessons is, how do you do crowd control? We have faced certain situations in recent past, and frankly the government of India has been, and state governments have been found wanting in being able to control crowds. And I think somebody really needs to understand that once you have 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people marching, it's a mob, it's a crowd, it's very passionate, hostile. How do you control it?
I don't think हमने भी किया. You remember when that regarding the Agniveer protests, they were getting into, the protesters were going into railway stations and putting trains on fire. You know, those were horrific shots that one saw. It happened in Bihar. हर जगह जा रहे थे, they were putting it on fire. You're seeing these supposedly organic or random protests which happen with a couple of hundred people, you know, in a country like India, 1.4 billion, couple of hundred is not big. But then you've seen this happening in Washington, D.C. also. You've seen that in the major Connecticut Avenue and all those, the shops were boarded up.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing barely 100 feet from the White House, the shops were boarded up when the protests happened.
That's the third worldization of the first world. That's okay.
It happens in London.
But
it happens.
where, for example, the farmers' protest?
It happens in Europe now.
Yeah.
Farmers protest when they wanted to come, because the Haryana government was BJP, they stopped them. Shambu border or whatever, recently.
Yeah.
They blocked them. They didn't allow them to come in.
So during Haryana elections, there was also this talk that if Haryana goes in the hands of a non-BJP, the next protest that happens from Punjab, they walk in right up till Vijay Chowk aa jayenge.
नहीं तो आप दिल्ली के border पे रोक दो.
If you were to draw parallels between the protests which happened, I'm going to come back to Bushra Bibi. It is very interesting.
You are fascinated by her.
I'm fascinated by her. Honest to God. I mean, she doesn't come from, you know, the Purana stock like they say in Pakistan, that she doesn't have that pichode.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody has a legacy, like Benazir Bhutto comes, right? Third wife spearheading PTI protests. Ye hai kaun? Matlab, she's fully in burqa and all. And just now, Sushant says that whose language is she speaking? Really, whose language is she speaking? Is there a Pakistan deep state that she's speaking? Unki language bol rahi hai, Imran ki language bol rahi hai. Ye Pirni aayi kuch hi saal pehle. And suddenly now she is this, and in a burqa. And her speech, that 7-minute speech that she gave when she said, Khan ye, Khan wo, Khan ye, Khan chahta hai ki tum ye karo, Khan chahta hai wo tum wo karo. Who is she and how is she managing to grab the entire protest now?
You see, the anecdotal, I can't verify it, but the anecdotal story is Imran Khan believes going to peers and, you know, predictions and things. And it was Faiz Hamid, the former DG ISI, who maneuvered to put her close to Imran Khan. She divorced her husband, Manika, whatever his full name was. She had 3 children, I think, from him.
Khawar Manika.
Khawar Manika. She divorced him and she convinced Khan.
5 kids.
5? Okay. That if you marry me, you'll become Prime Minister. And so she got a divorce from Khawar Manika. And even though they say the 3-month iddat period was not over, yet she married him before that.
So वो तो love भी हो सकता है.
Yeah, but you know, it's a very Islamic thing that you have to wait for a period of 3 months.
Cooling off period.
पर इश्क, मोहब्बत क्या कर सकते
It's
हैं?
like these guys in government, when they quit, when they retire, they have a cooling off period.
Cooling off period before they join. Even, please,
They also have a
including
iddat period.
judges now.
Yeah.
So, this is that it was Faiz Hamid, the DG ISI, who placed Bushra Bibi.
पर ये इमरान खान इतना लल्लू थोड़ी ना है कि हाँ किसी ने प्लेस कर दिया तो उसने शादी कर ली. He has an experience of several girlfriends in the past. He didn't marry all of them.
No. But look,
She was different.
There were 2 things in this particular
Clairvoyant.
case. One is he also, while he had that playboy aspect of him, he also had this thing about where he would believe in this whole Peer Muridi and spiritual leader and stuff like that.
He's very
And that
much
has been
like he
happening-
has this obsession with Tipu Sultan. Sorry to interrupt. He has this obsession about Tipu Sultan, and
No, that
Tipu
is-
Sultan also. If you read Vikram Sampath's this massive book on Tipu Sultan, he also had this crazy thing about astrologers and peers, and he used to go to these babas. He used to believe in astrology, and you know, कि ये
And if he
सब
didn't
है।
like it, they would kill
they
them.
behead them. हाँ. But
तो
he
सब
believed in
कॉन्टिनेंट में
that.
सभी ये
मतलब they would do it even with Hindus. They would ask कि मेरे लिए ये फलां पूजा करा दो, फलां ये जादू टोना करा दो for thing.
So
he has this.
Imran had this issue,
हाँ.
right? And he even before he became a murid of Bushra, she was actually his spiritual guide. He was going to other such babas and peers and others, and virtually everybody in Pakistan does it. Benazir had her own. Asif Zardari ki story hai that he would
Zulfikar
get
Bhutto.
Zulfikar Bhutto, but Asif Zardari's story is that he would get a black goat and butchered every day because he thought that will ward
And
off
her forte was-
evil spirits.
throw a chicken into burning flames, a live chicken.
Whose? Benazir.
Bushra
Bushra's.
So
For who? For Imran.
for Imran.
So here is the thing. So one, he was. This is now the other story, that he was already impressed by her clairvoyance, and he was already her murid, and then maybe this whole thing comes where she told him that, listen, if you actually want to get power, then you need to divorce your wife, although that
Reham.
वो पहले
हाँ,
हो
रेहम।
गया था, वो पहले
वो
हो
पहले
गया
हो गया था, and you need to get married to me. You need to marry me, and that is your ticket to power.
हाँ.
The thing is that even after he got married to her, very often he would listen to her. He's very superstitious in many ways. So, for example, he doesn't attend any funeral. Even his closest friend, like that fellow Naeem something, I'm forgetting his name. You
अच्छा,
remember
बाद में,
there was this friend of his.
मातम के लिए he would.
Never go.
Okay.
Never go for the
And he
funeral.
would wear
and-
blue colored salwar kameez.
So all of that, she started influencing him, and apparently, as the saying goes, that even this whole big fight which he had with the army on the posting out of Faiz Hamid from ISI chief to Corps Commander Peshawar, he did not want that to happen, and he picked up a fight with Bajwa because he had been told by his wife that till such and such date, if Faiz Hamid leaves his position, then your government is going to fall. So there is that story as well. So obviously he would put a lot of stock in her ability to see the future, which many people say was used by Faiz Hamid and the ISI and some of her handlers to actually get decisions made through Imran Khan on what they wanted to do.
Okay, she has this jadoo effect on Imran. पर पीटीआई की पूरी फौज जो है उनकी उन पे भी मास हिप्नोसिस किया है
But
क्या?
PTI is Imran Khan.
PTI और क्या है?
जो वो बोलता है, it is law. And she is influencing him. So many people, for example, Buzdar was appointed as Chief Minister of Punjab. The worst Chief Minister Punjab has ever seen. But she had told him, so long as he's there, you're okay. And even the army, everybody said, get a better, effective person who can govern the most important province in Pakistan. He refused to change him.
She did some mumbo jumbo. It was not only Usman Buzar. There were other people in POK, for example, and other parts where chief ministers had to be selected. She would do some mumbo jumbo, and then she had come up with this thing that any name which starts with N, it's a Urdu character, is a person whom you should pick as the chief minister so that it's a secure government. Listen, you can roll your eyes as much as you want, but look, when you go down that rabbit hole, then this is the shit which happens.
Exactly.
So, if even if he's completely now putty in the hands of Bushra Bibi, do you think that he would like to stay on? Bahar kyun nikal raha hai? Wouldn't the army be smart enough to say
No, he
कि
wants to
exit
come
passage?
out. He wants to come out, but
Come out of prison.
I don't think the army is going to let him out.
Yeah.
Not
Aren't they
Asim
better
Munir.
off?
Who?
by letting him
Of
off.
course not.
No,
कोई
how
peace
are they
deal ही
better
sign
off?
कर दे कि तू निकल जा सऊदी अरेबिया.
No, but he will not go to Saudi Arabia, number one. Number two, if he is out of Pakistan, see, sitting in jail, he is running circles around these characters. Can you imagine what he would do if he was, say, sitting in London? And he would be roaming around the world, gathering international support, using
See, he
media,
has a media
international
presence.
media.
He has a media presence. He can talk very well. So he'll have daily the media talking to him every day.
Yeah.
Today, the media is blocked.
But फिर भी how is he managing?
You see, let me tell you a story.
हाँ.
When Zia was taken over, he was told by a politician, देखो एक कब्र है और दो लाशें हैं. तुम जाओगे अंदर या भुट्टो जाएगा. You make up your mind. A very famous story. Similarly with Asim Munir and Imran Khan, कब्र एक है. Either Asim Munir is going to go inside or Imran Khan.
Imran.
कब आर्मी चीफ कभी कब्र में गया आज तक?
So, he can't. So, what you said now, that the army should let him go, they'll be better off. No way.
No,
यार
in the
नहीं,
sense
देखो-
that they let Zardari go, they let Musharraf go, they let Nawaz Sharif
None
go.
of them were dangers to the army, to the manner in which Imran Khan is.
They let Benazir go.
यार देखो ऐसे है, I'm going to make a very controversial, and please push back, right? Because let's make it more balanced. But you need to push back on this because I'm going to make a very controversial assertion. You know, the way we study Pakistan is, I think, getting dated now. We seem to imagine that the army is immovable. The army is invulnerable. It is there to stay, and whatever the army says will happen. Maybe among most Punjabis, that is probably still a way of looking at it. But if you look at what's happening in Pakistan, army has been challenged not just by Imran Khan. He has, of course, उसने तो ईंट से ईंट बजा दिया उनकी, right? But army has been challenged by, for example, the Baloch. The old leadership of the Baloch is dead. But all those Sardars and, all those tribal chieftains and all these death squad members like the current chief minister, they are irrelevant. This man who's the chief minister of Balochistan, or that other clown whom they had made the caretaker prime minister, they can't get 10 votes if they were to stand up in a free and fair election, right? The person who is in charge right now is the slip of a woman called Dr. Maharang Baloch.
हाँ.
She can click her fingers and there'll be a crowd of 100,000 people that will gather, right? In a place like Balochistan, which is sparsely populated. She and the rest of her associates, there are some very intrepid women who are attached to it, many young men, and of course this whole BYC, the
Because
Baloch
एक बीच
Yagyati
का जो
committee.
generation है of Baloch leadership, they all went abroad. That middle...
They went abroad, or
and
they were
they
killed.
had the
They were
good life.
compromised. They
Or
were
were killed,
compromised.
yeah.
There were
हाँ.
people who were the so-called nationalists,
नए आ
always
रहे हैं.
did their deals with the government. People like Dr. Abdul Malik or this other fellow, Bizinjo's son, Hasil Bizinjo.
Bizinjo.
When they were in opposition, they would abuse the government. When they got the government, they would
वही
play
ना.
along. So
हाँ.
they became irrelevant.
वो
right?
rebels गए.
So in Balochistan, that is what has happened. It's a tectonic shift
And
which
the
has taken place.
Pashtuns?
In the Pashtun lands, there are three forces now. Everybody else is irrelevant. One is the PTM. Okay.
And Manzoor Pristine, again a young,
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah,
leader.
that's
And
why,
just look at the kind of
Quite
gathering
amazing.
He can get.
they can get, right? So one is him. The second is the TTP or the Taliban or the Islamists, call them by whatever name you want to call them. And the third is Imran Khan. There is no third force in the Pashtun lands. In Sindh, again, there is a big problem which is emerging, and People's Party doesn't know how to play that, because if they play it with the people, they lose the support of the army. If they play it with the army, they lose the support of the people on a very, very emotional issue of water. Because the army, with its corporate farming plan, is planning to irrigate some 4.5 million acres of land in South Punjab deserts. And what they're going to do is, the only way to irrigate that is to pull canals out of the Indus River system, which means that the Sindhis fear that their water allocations are going to go down.
Further reduced.
So they are,
Lower
there's a
riparian, right?
massive
That's why.
movement taking place out
Which
there.
you have written extensively
his
on.
his
Yeah.
deep analysis,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
So
6 canals they want to build. 6 canals.
So that is what is happening out there. And then you come to POK, where again a completely new leadership has started emerging. And if you look at the kind of demonstrations which are taking place,
Yeah.
and the way the army is being pilloried and being abused and being accused is unbelievable.
They're
Unbelievable.
burning the,
right?
Pakistan
And you in
flag
Punjab,
yeah.
you have the entire upper crust Punjabi elite, which was the bulwark of the Pakistan army, today actually turn against the Pakistan army in a way that has never happened in the past. So when you look at the army, yes, it is powerful. Yes, it is firmly ensconced as of now. But for how long? The ground beneath its feet is slipping. But what is the army doing? The army, and it's really stupid, right? The army is doubling down on a failed policy. So they're not understanding that the way they have been operating is the past. It's anachronistic to continue in that same way. What they think is that the way they've been operating, they can continue to operate indefinitely. Only they need to be more repressive, they need to be more brutal, they need to take more control, little realizing that the more control they take, the less they get the support of the people. So the army is in pushback. Army, I feel, is losing ground and losing ground very, very rapidly. But I think they feel कि नोबेल प्राइज इकोनॉमिस्ट फौज में है, कप्तान मेजर को ज़्यादा पता है इकोनॉमिक्स के बारे में देन अ PhD इन इकोनॉमिक्स.
So I will just say one thing here. I agree with you. See, the army's power, physical power, has not reduced, it is increasing in terms of firepower to control. What the army has lost in the last 5, 6, 7 years is the intangible. You know, जो रॉब होता है, the aura, the charisma of the army, which the people would
The
look up.
unstated power.
Yeah. You know, the people used to look up that this is the institution that will save me when everything else fails. They are the saviors of last resort. You know, in Punjab especially, the very famous saying where a lady would sing this song, कि अगे अगे वीर मेरा, पिछे फौजां अंग्रेज़ां दी. That is my son, my brother, is leading the army and the British army is behind him. You know, that was the kind of aura that the army had. Today that aura has vanished. Vanished, destroyed by single-handedly by Imran Khan. You know, by calling the army chief Mir Jafar and yet surviving.
Okay.
You know, the 9th May, whatever happened, they demolished the Corps Commander's house, they raided it, they broke Martyrs Memorial. So that people said, yaar, ye to army is not what we thought it was. ये तो हमारे जैसे ही, you know, are ordinary people made of clay. So that rutba, that rob, aura has been demolished and not the power. So what?
तो ये थोड़ा सुनाई बात लग रही है. मतलब I've heard this so many times
When have you heard this?
that you know that the army when they say,
Army's power actually is not the guns it has. Its power is the support, stated and unstated, of the
People.
see this rutba is also
And
a
when
fear
that
factor.
goes-
It's also the fear factor. When you fear,
No, the fact that the
they've
army can
ruled
deliver.
by the fear.
The fact that the army can deliver. Whenever they are in trouble, the army will protect us.
But that fear factor is not the only reason. See, there would be a lot of
Fear
people
to
who
dependability with fear, na?
a lot of people right
Danda.
now it's only fear factor. Right now it's only the fear factor with which the army is getting the obedience of people. But they don't. There is something, you know, when in India, for example, when people look up to the army,
It's
it's not
different, nahin, it's
because
different.
it's not that the army is running the show out here.
No,
thankfully,
no.
right?
नहीं, यहाँ पे तो totally different है. I mean,
But
that's not
look at the
respect.
way the respect.
Even in Bangladesh, it's different. You know, to labor a point about Bangladesh and the dissimilarity between the two, even in Bangladesh, it's not there. But वहाँ पे, whether it is the rule of law or whether it is the collapse of law and order, everything is laid at the doorstep of the army. वो जो कहते हैं ना, जैसे आपने कहा, उसमें वो भी है, ये जो दहशतगर्दी है, इसके पीछे वर्दी है. You know,
वो है भी.
so in both ways, the army is blamed as well as viewed with a great deal of reverence.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
The
Because,
reverence part is gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, both, if you take Balochistan, you know, the message is finally now getting home because it is not only the Baloch who are missing, the Pashtuns are also missing. People have been picked up in Sindh, people have been picked up in Punjab. और कौन कर रहा है? आर्मी कर रही है. So you know, people think यार ये what is this?
अच्छा,
What is
जब भी
happening?
ऐसे होता था पहले there used to be international intervention in the form of say an America और Saudi Arabia. कोई तो used to pull the strings at the back. अभी कोई नहीं कर रहा.
अब कचड़ा कौन उठाए?
To labor a point about Bushra Bibi, she had said
Your obsession is crazy, yeah.
where she turned around
She's
and she
almost
said,
like an idol for you.
Yeah,
I'm very
are you
fascinated.
going to emulating her in future?
No, please, can you see me in that burqa with my face covered and things? No, I'm just asking. Why did she say this thing that Imran Khan's problem started when he visited Medina? She said this, and it was then somebody said कि PTI का बंदा ने कहा कि नहीं, her statement has been
I think it
taken
was
out of
lost in
context.
translation. My own sense
Because
is,
he walked bare feet.
my own
He
sense
walked
is
bare feet there.
तो क्या हुआ?
I don't know why. What is the significance of?
so
They said it's been taken out
he
of
did
context.
it. He did it out of reverence, or maybe he was being a showman. Whatever the reason, I'm not getting into that. But in what she said, the first impression when you hear her is that she is saying that the Saudis were accusing Imran Khan of being more Islamic than all Muslims, and it was the Saudis who were telling people in the Pakistan army that you've got this guy, we want to remove Sharia from Saudi Arabia, and you brought this man out here.
Reinforcing religiosity.
But I think this is where the spin came. What she was trying to say is that when Imran came back, people within the Pakistani establishment and deep state were calling up Bajwa to tell him that who have you brought in? It is the Pakistan army under Bajwa and company which was trying to rid Pakistan of Sharia, and you have brought in Imran Khan, who is such a devotee of the Sharia law. That is what she was trying to
But
say. But
he
the
didn't
way
need
it
her
came
now.
out, the way it came out was that the first impression is that she's accusing the Saudis. But what
Direct,
she's
yeah.
actually doing is accusing the army, and that was this very clever ploy to say that Imran is the Islamic hero, and this Yazidi army is the one which is preventing Islam from coming into Pakistan. So this whole Islamic touch is being given.
Which was anyway he was, right? He was
Yeah, of
called
course he
Taliban Khan way before even Bushra came on the
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
So he
So, you
has,
know, like Shehbaz
उसमें तो
Sharif's
कोई change
statement
नहीं आया.
कि जो भी हमारे और सऊदी अरेबिया के बीच में आएंगे उसके हाथ तोड़ देंगे. The government pounced on it. You know, so, and they were the ones who gave it a spin that she's trying to spoil our relations with the Saudis.
But she was not doing it with the Saudis. She was actually taking an aim at the people who replaced Imran Khan or who sabotaged his government, which is the army and some of the others.
Is there any scope, do you think, that the army would have some rapprochement with Imran Khan कि हाँ इसके साथ बना के रखनी है, नहीं तो we'll have
Not
blood
under
on
the
him.
current
No,
leadership. Not under this
no,
leadership.
it's not going to
There's
happen.
bad blood between them. Because Imran Khan is determined. If he were to come out, Asim will have to go. Asim Munir will have to go.
So that is the red line for Imran Khan.
Yeah.
कि,
And
but
that's
वो
a red
चला
line
गया.
for Asim Munir also. He can't have Imran Khan out.
See, the fear is if Imran comes in, he's also a very vicious and a vindictive man,
Yeah.
right? And he will go after everybody with a vengeance. And if he comes back under the circumstances, the army will be left with no choice but to kowtow to everything he asks them to do. So the army will be basically his private force. Okay, army will have no existence of its own because he will have become so powerful that the army will not be able to resist him, which is why he's come into power, right? So the current lot knows that if he comes back, they are history, right? They go into the grave, which Mr. Deveshwar was talking about. The political leadership, if you can call them political anymore, Shehbaz Sharif and company. Shehbaz Sharif is such a caricature actually. The way he
why
swings
is
his
it
arms and the
क्या हो
way
गया इसको?
They'll be
he'll
all
thump
behind
on the
bars.
table. I don't know where he thinks he's actually trying to make an impression. He looks like an idiot. But
बहुत
They'll all
bipolar
be
लग रहा है
behind
मेरे
bars.
को
And
तो
if he
आदमी
comes
का.
back, this entire top leadership of the PMLN and the Zardaris,
yeah,
all
he's-
behind bars.
They'll all go. He's
and they will
going to
not
go
get any
after them.
facilities like he has got. You know, Desi Murgi and air
But they're saying कि
conditioning.
ये देसी मुर्गी वगैरह कुछ नहीं है, मतलब उसको एक चारपाई में बिठाया हुआ है इमरान खान को. This is what Bushra said, that again I'm saying Bushra, but this is what she said. She says वो लाते भी
पाप लगेगा, पाप.
पाप चढ़ेगा मेरे को कि वो लाते भी आगे नहीं कर सकता because चारपाई और दीवार के बीच में the distance is so
यार
little.
जेल है भाई,
हाँ.
कोई 5-star होटल थोड़ी है.
Poor fellow. You got sympathy for him?
No, he's a Pakistani guy who has vowed revenge on India. तो मेरे को तो कोई sympathy नहीं है, sorry. And
No, but look at it the other way around. You know, from an Indian point of view, again, please feel free to push back. I think we have today an embarrassment of riches in Pakistan. So I'll tell you how. Last time we both were on her show.
Yeah, we disagreed
You know,
on that.
I was saying that Imran was the best thing which happened to India.
Huh.
I want to add to it. It's now Imran plus. I think Asim Munir has done one better because he has also destroyed the Pakistan army like nobody else has done. He has destroyed the image of the Pakistan army. He is doubling down on all the follies of the Pakistan army in the past. He has alienated so many people. The Baloch, the Pashtuns are up in arms. The Sindhis are getting up in arms. The Punjabis hate the Pakistan army. I think Asim Munir is just as much an answer to our dreams than Imran Khan
मेरे को
was.
एक
So
बात-
no matter which of them is in power, हम तो
सारी उंगलियां घी
बल्ले बल्ले.
बल्ले बल्ले.
नहीं, पर मैंने तो ये, I mean, there's a whole bunch of people who says देखा ये इंडियन एक्सपर्ट्स जो है ना पॉडकास्ट में और टीवी शोज में बैठ के कहते हैं कि इमरान खत्म हो गया, कहाँ के खत्म हुआ है, he is very much the hero.
नहीं, देखो, that is right. A lot of us had actually imagined that because we were analyzing Pakistan from a past perspective. That once the army is going to come in, Imran will, he will have no legs to stand on. So I think we must admit that analysis was wrong, that he has proved everyone wrong, including the people who targeted him in Pakistan who thought he'll be finished. He has shown a kind of staying power which was unimaginable until it happened.
Yeah, his resilience
Yeah.
and his perseverance to stay the course.
So if he was
And to say that does not mean that I have suddenly become an admirer of his, but it's just to state
you're not a youthia.
I'm not a youthia, but it's just to state a fact which is on the ground, which is staring
Yuthia
us
is
in the
middle of the
face.
road, no pro.
Middle of the road.
Highest category,
Please
you know.
get trolled by a youthia, you will know. मतलब मैंने एक बार ट्वीट किया था, वो उसके क्या नवजोत सिद्धू का ट्वीट मैंने किया when Navjot Sidhu came and he was made to sit next to. Anyway, तो मैंने जब उसमें लानत किया था तो the youthia got after me, my God.
बस सुनो तो सही ना.
And मैंने एक बार कहा ट्वीट में कि what a ill-fitting शेरवानी Imran Khan is wearing, you know, for his swearing in ceremony. What a bad thing. Don't you have better people to stitch? पीछे पड़ गए मेरे सारे पुराने फोटोज निकाले जहाँ मेरे बाल उड़े हुए हैं, मेरे कपड़े फालतू के हैं, and said look at her, she doesn't even know how to dress and she's commenting
No,
about
what I'm
our
saying
Imran
is,
Khan.
so you have the Yuthias, but the extreme are called Imrandus. So you're talking about the Imrandus. You know, who are the, well, kind of death squad. You know, the really committed, hardcore supporters. Those
Acha.
are the ones who are,
But what is it that he does? Is it just his cricket thing? Is it the way he looks? It
they
is
know.
his that
The reason
aura?
is,
क्या है
and
उसका?
I'm sure Sushant will agree, the hopelessness in Pakistan is so much that people are looking for some ray of hope.
A messiah of sorts.
Somebody who will pull them out of the morass they're in. और कोई नहीं
मुझे
है.
शबाज दो नहीं है.
All the other politicians are tired and tested.
And the tragedy is, Imran has no idea on how to solve Pakistan's problem. Not that the Pakistan army has. We are seeing Pakistan army is completely clueless. And not just Imran or the Pakistan army. I haven't come across a single person with any sense who says, okay, this is what the building... Everybody can point out the problems in Pakistan. Nobody can offer a solution unless it's very generic things. Export बढ़ा दो, raise your exports, raise your revenue. How?
But now
And nobody answers it because nobody has any idea.
It's basically lack of vision, lack of understanding and lack of leadership. The courage to do something.
You know,
But
Sushant was
Imran has a
pointing.
charisma, which
he,
obviously
he can
his-
carry through
Yeah.
major reforms. If he was sensible, for example, agricultural income tax or land holdings, he has the charisma, the support of the masses. He can go through major structural changes in Pakistan. He won't.
But even he won't is a different matter. But even if you remember the PMLN fan club, jo commentate, they were the ones who used to make fun of Imran. Number of people that we know also. Today even they are in a state of shock that ये कितने पैरालाइज हो गए हैं कि ये कुछ भी करने को तैयार नहीं है. एंड व्हेन दे पुट दैट मुस्लिम लीग का दैट थिंग, मुस्लिम लीग और व्हाटएवर इट इज, मजलिस का वो जो वीपीएन के ऊपर जो, आई मीन दे आल्सो टर्न अराउंड सेड कि है क्या ये लोग, पागल हैं क्या? एंड इवन दे आर mesmerized of sorts by Imran and Bushra and said that what is happening is wrong. So those who were the left-leaning so-called liberals of Pakistan, loved and adored by the left-leaning liberals of India, even they
But
are...
this is what political failure looks like. The bottom line is that PMLN as a political force, and there was a time when it was a very, very potent, it was
force.
one of the strongest political parties. Its vote bank in Punjab and some parts of KP was unassailable.
But Nawaz.
Right?
It
yeah,
was
yeah,
Nawaz Sharif.
Nawaz, of course.
It was never Shahbaz.
Sharif was a nobody, yaar.
He's more of a technocrat,
Like I said, he's ideal as private secretary to
Comparatively.
COAS, PS to COAS in local rank of Prime Minister. That is
Even,
what is...
even when he was CM of Punjab, LET को पैसे इसी ने दिए.
हाँ.
He land इसने दिए.
Arey, he is the man when the Taliban were attacking, TTP was attacking Punjab, he was a man who publicly, Shahbaz Sharif, who today says, no, I don't want
Arey, state
this
funds
kind
he
of
was
thing.
giving.
Yeah.
No,
he told them, don't attack us.
He said, I and you, we are on the same page. We believe in the same thing. Why are you attacking us? He told the Taliban this. So you can accuse Imran Khan of being Taliban Khan, but so is Shahbaz Sharif Taliban Sharif.
And there's no ideology here. It is just...
This is just practicality.
Practicality.
Punjabi, as Sushant is say.
Please don't include me in this now.
Come on, you'll be now
You-
co-opted
listen.
as a Punjabi.
You are a Panju full time. ये
No,
तो
जब गाली देनी होती है ना, अगर पंजाबी में ना तो फिर that is when I become a Punjabi.
that is our biggest contribution to human civilization.
And culture.
हाँ, culture.
And tandoori chicken.
No,
Nah.
but Punjabi
Sorry.
abuses are like...
Could be
you know,
Kali dal.
it's-
Let's
it's-
get back to that. Let's get back to that.
It's very deeply satisfying actually.
So, do you see?
Cathartic.
Do you see a collapse happening in Punjab, in Pakistan, before it resurfaces and gets some kind of order, or do you see some compromise happening?
I don't see compromise taking place because I don't see any inclination among the protagonists who are relevant, right? So maybe Shahbaz Sharif would be okay with a compromise. Maybe Nawaz would be okay with a compromise. But what do they have in store, right? The guys who are relevant, one is Imran Khan. And the other is the army. It's a two-party system in Pakistan now. Everybody else is irrelevant. In my book, at least, I think there are two
They're
parties.
irrelevant.
Yeah, they're irrelevant. Whereas one party is Imran Khan among the mainstream politics.
Okay.
Of course, I'm not talking about the Baloch and the
So you were
the
mentioning
PTM
this. That's
and
what I'm
others.
wondering. Implosion होने वाला है with all
यार
this?
पता नहीं अब क्या होगा. अब वो जैसे इम्प्लोजन बोलो तो फिर लोग मैप बनाना शुरू कर देते हैं.
हिंदुत्व.
पाकिस्तान के 4 टुकड़े हो जाए. मैं 4 क्यों होंगे, 50 क्यों नहीं होंगे?
हाँ.
So I'm not getting into that. But what I'm saying is that
Hindu Rashtra.
there seems to be growing
Akhand
turmoil.
Bharat.
Akhand Bharat.
Yeah, see, nobody is investing in Pakistan. Nobody. So they made this, the Fauji's, captains and majors and generals. Like I said, they think that they have all the wisdom of the world when they're nothing. Okay, you have parade ground solutions and what many of these guys call TS solutions, directing staff solutions. But those are theoretical ones, right? How do you actually run an economy? How does a modern economy run? On what principles will it run? It's a very, very complex field. Yes, if you have an enlightened politician who's not an expert, but who has the common sense, he can
pulse
give
of the people.
Yeah, and he can give some kind of a broad direction in which he wants things to move, and then people can draft out policies. But here you have these 12वीं पास, वो भी नहीं है, 12वीं भी नहीं है, हाई स्कूल पास ही हैं जितने जनरल्स हैं पाकिस्तान के. ये जो है, ये अपने आप को पता नहीं समझते, नोबेल प्राइज विनिंग इकोनॉमिस्ट हैं, डॉक्टरी भी इनको आती है, साइकोलॉजी भी इनको पता है, एंड दे हैव मेड अ कंप्लीट हैश ऑफ इट. या तो पाकिस्तान को स्विट्जरलैंड बना दिया होता ना इन्होंने इतने साल अमल दखल करके, वो भी नहीं किया. सो एंड आई थिंक नाउ द स्लिप इज शोइंग. सो बट इन दिस टू पार्टी सिस्टम, I don't see how they are going to compromise. And the others who are relevant players like the PTM and the Baloch and some of the others,
वो अपना ही गेम खेल रहे हैं.
वो अपना गेम खेल रहे हैं. और जो मेन स्ट्रीम पार्टी है, PMLN as a political force is virtually decimated. There are stories that even Nawaz lost his election. He won through a sleight of hand against that lady Yasmin
वो
Rashid.
कैंपेन ही नहीं कर
And
रहा था.
also, this is political. You're talking about. And my favorite, this is where I bring in my favorite. The deeper issues in Pakistan.
Please don't go into water.
No.
मैं
listen.
मैं अभी बता देती हूँ, प्लीज वो तिलक देवेश्वर के पुराने पॉडकास्ट निकाल लो.
नहीं, but what he's saying is very relevant.
Crucial. There is no life without water.
हाँ, okay.
Don't look so bored. This is the fact of the matter is.
3 podcast
भाई
तो
यार,
कर लिए पानी के ऊपर.
इतनी मेरा काम उस पे किया है.
हाँ, sorry. हाँ.
There is no life without water. Pakistan is running dry. That's why this Sindh is up in arms, because they're making 6 more canals.
Why
of
do you
Indus.
want to tell them to resolve it? ना करने दो उनको.
नहीं होगा.
नहीं, उनको पता है. You think people in Pakistan don't know? There are think tanks and intellectuals who know the problem. Can anybody pay attention other than from Imran Khan?
यार,
They just
water.
don't.
But when he comes into power, he doesn't do anything of that.
But listen, so water, the other thing which in his Veep analysis is education.
Yeah.
Now what has started happening is that in the past, the Pakistanis were saying कि ठीक है, अनपढ़ गवार जो भी हैं, but we will send them to Saudi Arabia, we'll send them to UAE, we will send them various places, they will earn some money, they'll send it back. So it's become, a money order economy in some ways. Remittances is what is running the country and keeping it afloat. But that is going to run dry because the world is changing and the lack of skills and lack of education in Pakistan has no takers. So the people who are very well educated don't want to stay in Pakistan. The ones who want to leave Pakistan have no way to go because, for example, the UAE and other places have now started clamping down on Pakistanis'
visas.
entries.
Cannot give the visa.
So आपका
Student
वो भी
visa America में
तो
10
वो
साल
भी
हो चुके
avenue
हैं
बंद हो
Two
गया and you're
indicators.
breeding like rabbits and you have a growth rate of what 2.5 2.6%. No,
जो सच है.
जो सच है वो they are going to be 400 million people by 2047 or 2050.
हमारे borders पे problem है.
हाँ, तो
तिलक
फिर?
देवेश्वर, third time I'm asking you, in several podcasts I've asked this issue which he's talking about, where you have this millions out there on our border. If it's a collapsing state, what does India do?
Yeah. But before that, I want to give you 2 indicators of what he's saying. The number of beggars who are flying into Saudi Arabia and UAE.
मांगने वाले हैं
मांगने
जैसे.
वाले. Because they 40,000 visa or passport applications are being received every day. These are figures published in Pak media. 40,000 applications every day in a country like Pakistan.
The
They can't-
biggest export is beggars.
Oh God.
People want passports. They want to all get out because they see the future
What
is.
they used to laugh about Bangladesh. They have become what Bangladesh used to be or was
Or is heading
pejoratively was referred to.
So what you're asking, I've been talking about this for many years now. That if there is a water shortage in Sindh or South Punjab, the people start marching towards. They won't go to across to Balochistan. They won't go into Afghanistan. Certainly not to China.
यहाँ आएंगे जैसे
आएंगे।
रोहिंग्या आएंगे
हाँ,
आए थे यहाँ पे.
हाँ. So what do we do? Do you have enough water in Rajasthan, in
No,
Gujarat, in other
forget
places?
about water. We don't want them.
You don't want them.
Yeah, I know. But
Period.
what do you do? Can you shoot so many people?
No. We don't know crowd control. I'm coming back to that.
Yeah. So, it is a serious problem.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there is thinking. I retired 10 years ago. I'm sure there is thinking going on in GOI.
Are you sure?
So, because have you noticed that the silence from the government of India with regard to what is happening in Pakistan? It's like you guys don't matter to us anymore. Whereas in Bangladesh, they're responding, they're more dynamic
because
in
there
their
is still
response.
the hope that something positive can still come out
Happen.
of Bangladesh.
ये जो image है यार,
we haven't totally given up on
Bangladesh.
but
ये जो image है, इसके बारे में I want you people to react to this. I mean, okay, there are conflicting reports coming about the monk who's been picked up from ISKCON, and he's till the time of shooting this, he's still not been released. And there's this whole thing about what is happening. Is it ethnic cleansing being allowed? Wink, wink by Bangladesh right
Religious
now?
cleansing.
Huh.
You see, even though Yunus has said that because Hindus were believed to be closer to the Awami League, therefore they're being targeted. Nonsense. They are being targeted as Hindus.
Okay.
It's Jamaat has got a free run, and because this man, Chinmay Krishnadas, has been speaking against these atrocities, asking the government to protect the Hindus, he has been targeted.
And all kinds of cases. पहले कहा कि वो saffron flag above the Bangladeshi flag.
Yeah.
Then they said about murder of somebody which happened. I mean, all kinds
Can
of
you imagine?
reasons.
The lawyer who was defending him, they say he's murdered him.
हाँ.
I mean, थोड़ी logic.
Then
थोड़ी
they
सी-
said कि ये misinformation है, disinformation perpetuated by India. All kinds of accusations being done.
Yeah, so this is basically
all
they're
the-
targeting them as Hindus. No, they were supporters of Awami League because Awami League was so-called, far more secular, and they were protecting the Hindus. So they are
And now Sheikh
definitely-
Hasina has got involved because her statement has also come
yeah.
out.
So they are targeting them as Hindus.
Yeah. So
and see all these look, if you were booking him under all those other scurrilous charges that are being leveled against him, okay, fine, you should have booked him under that, but you didn't pick him up for that.
Yeah.
You picked him on the charge of what, sedition or treason
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Number one. Number two, why did you pick him up? Because he was one person who was standing up and trying to organize and put some spine in the Hindu community to stand up for their rights and not be pushovers for what was happening. And he was organizing it, he was resisting, and he was calling for resistance. That's a crime, right? Because you're supposed to be dhimmis who are supposed to be living under the sufferance of the majority
And pay
Muslim
jizya.
population
Yeah.
and pay jizya. They are targeting him, but they are not targeting all those Islamist mobs which are openly parading streets asking for the extermination and slaughter of Hindus, basically calling for a genocide. Out there, the Nobel Peace Laureate has dahi in his mouth and gone off to sleep. Right?
So one other point, if I can make. You mentioned the 13 million Hindus. I don't know what their concentration is. I haven't studied that. But if they are in strong pockets nearby, and you are going to push the Hindus against the wall, what do you
There'll
think
be a
will
fight
happen?
back.
no, will they fight back? That's what I want to
They
know.
should fight
जब
back.
इतने कुछ कम लोग हैं,
देखो यार,
See, 13 million. yeah.
you're going to die. Otherwise,
they are
you're
not
going to be
13 million in
massacred.
one area.
No, which are, I mean, the Chittagong seems to be one, Rangpur is another
Rangpur,
place.
huh.
Yeah. So it depends if they are in a critical mass in a particular area. I
See,
can see the progression.
There has to be
See,
resistance.
there are many people who are saying, "Arey, dekho, 71 में क्या किया? India came and did this." Not realizing कि अभी India can't do that. Us time there was ground support. There was a Mukti Bahini. There was, all that which was done. Whatever. I mean, I don't want to go into the details, but उस time there was ground support for what Mrs. Gandhi did. आज थोड़ी ना कुछ कर सकते हैं. आज तो नहीं कर सकते ऐसे कुछ कि हाँ हम intervene करें, India intervene करे इसमें.
No, it
The
depends on the
Hindus are
circumstances.
left with no support. I mean,
Situation then was different. You had 10 million refugees in India. 10 million. At that time, India's economic condition wasn't so great that you could continue.
अरे अभी अगर 1 million भी आ जाएं,
No, but
आप क्या
Smita,
करोगे?
nobody's
So-
saying that. Nobody's saying that
You can leverage it. You leverage that because 1 million refugees and the kind of Katlayam, if it goes on, what Pakistan army did to the Bengalis at that time, the East Pakistanis at that time. If similar thing happens,
it gives you a causes belli.
But that was a genocide which happened with the Pakistan army doing it.
Yeah.
यहाँ पर तो it is mob. यहाँ पे कोई
so and if
uniformed
the
soldiers
state
तो
is
नहीं
not
कर रहे.
protecting them,
हाँ.
if the Bangladesh army is not protecting them, and there is Katlayam going on, it's on a humanitarian
No,
basis.
if the Rohingyas did that, they also went out, right? In hundreds of thousands, they left. They went to Bangladesh, they came here and things like that. Nobody
But
intervened.
they
Nobody
were not
did
being
anything.
targeted for killing. Nobody went out on the street saying kill all Rohingyas.
No, that was happening.
Yeah.
But not in the kind of way they are going on the street
Does
shouting
anybody
kill.
have the stomach to back the Hindus now?
So here is
No,
the thing.
in Bangladesh.
No, my point is that talking about any kind of physical intervention, I think it's many steps down.
Yeah.
But I think in the very first instance, while the government of India has made some noises, has raised the issue, issued some statements, they need to do a lot more on this front. They need to make this into a major issue with the Bangladeshi government at the very first step. What has been done is not bad, but it's not adequate. So I think before we talk about, helping them, giving them physical assistance, allowing refugees to come in, ideally, the Hindu community should continue to stay in Bangladesh and prosper out there in safety, right? So I think India needs to start making the kind of noises and raising this issue at various forums, bilaterally, multilaterally, regionally, that this is not acceptable.
So last question which I want to ask both of you is that do you think that the government in Bangladesh is now worried about how Trump will react to this? Will they get the kind of support that they got with the Biden administration, with Mohammad Yunus got with the Biden administration? Do you think that they will get similar? Or does the deep state function regardless of whether it's a Republican government or a Democrat government, it will continue to do what they are doing?
I think they would definitely be worried when President Trump is actually sworn in. He's already made a very strong statement on what's happening to the Hindus. He will be aware that Yunus is very close to the Clintons and Obama. That will be a red flag as far as he is concerned. So I think this President Yunus government would be very scared when Trump comes because he's unpredictable. You don't know which way he's going to go. So, and he's already come out with a strong statement on the Hindus. So other people in Congress also have come out with strong statements. So they would be very worried.
Not only that factor is of course going to be there, but I think also unlike the Democrats who seem to like the prospect of an Islamized Bangladesh and kowtowing to Islamists and giving them a free hand, I think the kind of people Trump has chosen in his in the counterterrorism field, intelligence, other fields, they do not have any love lost for Islamist radicals. And I think the fact that the Yunus government is virtually giving a free hand to the Islamists to run amok in Bangladesh is not something which is going to endure. Nobel Peace Laureate. Peace is very important. Nobel Peace Laureate to the new administration. So that is one. Secondly, in transactional terms, because let us assume Trump is transactional, he is going to ask what's in it for me to back Yunus. And if Yunus has nothing to offer him except for Islamization of Bangladesh.
Or jumping into the lap of China.
Or jumping into the lap of China, he has no reason to back the guy up, right? And number three, US also operates on the basis of lobbying. So how does the Bangladeshi Islamic lobby, which was very active with the democratic government, which is why they started the Muslim Brotherhood and other Jamaat Islami characters were very active in lobbying, and some of the former State Department officials have got very fancy contracts and other things in Bangladesh. That's not going to happen anymore. What is the counter lobbying going to be like with the new administration? Can the Hindu community, for example, or the secular Bangladeshi community in the United States raise a counter lobbying effort?
Lobbying se ho jayega.
बहुत फर्क पड़ता है.
Even Awami League, Awami League needs to get its lobbying activity.
Can they play the same card which Pakistan used to play कि अगर तुम नहीं तो फिर और कोई सही, in the sense that go towards China. If you don't
भाई they are in IMF के कर्जे में डूबे हुए हैं. So उनकी markets का, they don't send their shirt and bed linen to China.
They send it to the US.
हाँ.
all the quotas and everything that they have, the 60 billion of textile exports alone.
Is EU and US.
Yeah, they also have GSP plus from Europe.
Okay, so the next couple of weeks are going to be very interesting to see which way Mohammad Yunus goes, whether he course corrects or not, and which way the Pakistan army goes. Thank you, gentlemen, for sparing the time and coming. And
Always a pleasure with him.
Thank you so much.
speaking.
Thank
We'll
you,
do a
Shah.
full podcast on water next time.
You've been saying that for 3 years.
2 years भाई podcast को हुए 2 साल
हाँ 2 साल से कह रहे हो, but नहीं किया आपने.
पाकिस्तान की जो इश्यूज हैं, मेन इश्यूज, उस पे करेंगे.
हाँ, जिसमें बहुत intellectual वाला. But look, his book on that
Yeah.
was the first time somebody pointed
True.
to not the rough and tumble of politics,
Yeah.
but the larger existential dangers that exist in Pakistan. And I think he did that in a very, very academic way, and that is really in some ways the crux of the problem.
Yeah.
The water crisis, the education crisis, population.
Yeah, so really, I mean, to understand Pakistan or to understand the neighborhood, one has to read your publications, whatever you have written and what you have written, to understand. And for those who say, yeah, it doesn't matter, Pakistan doesn't matter and all, no, it does.
It does.
Sitting in a country where you have hostile neighborhood, you need to know what it is. And it's not just for journalists and think tankers and all. Even if you're in the business sector, you need to know the stability of your neighborhood matters a lot.
So look, Pakistan doesn't matter in terms of anything positive coming India's way. But Pakistan certainly matters in terms of all the negativity that flows into,
Yeah.
And they
into
can
India from
surprise you.
Pakistan.
They can give you a nasty surprise.
Yeah.
And for anybody, I mean, there's a lot of social media thing that happens कि why you always talking about Pakistan? It doesn't matter, खत्म है nation. ना भाई, जब वो खत्म होते हैं तभी हमको hurt करते हैं.
Yeah.
And you might be just an engineer, or you might be a banker, you might be a teacher, whatever
Yeah.
you
It
are.
affects your life.
It will affect your life. Of course, it
Exactly.
will affect your life,
Absolutely.
So this is what I keep reinforcing wherever I talk to students, whoever I talk to. कभी मत समझना कि international affairs जो है वो तुमको affect नहीं करती है, वो हर बंदे को affect करती है अपने country में.
Exactly.
Right. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you so
for
much
this
for having us.
conversation.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for watching or listening to this edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind. Click here to watch the previous episodes.